Welcome to an episode of Chat Sports Talk. And welcome to the recap of college football week number 10 and my second iteration of my point index. Now, my point index poll is a mathematical formula that's kind of gives a little more of support to the group of 5 schools, I think. I was trying to find a way to create a correct balance in between them to allow, the power conferences to have a high presence, but still give some love to the group. Because you look at a lot of these polls, and a lot of these polls are skewed one way or another. And a lot of them are skewed more to the bigger conferences, because that's where the money's at. And mine kind of gives a little bit of light to the other side. So my polls are slightly different than what you see out there. And you see other programs that get a lot higher in mine. And also, I probably overinflated some. But in the end, I think towards the end of the season, everyone kind of balances out and we achieve that balance. So, go quick over what I did last week. 7-5, not good. I said 8-4, and I went 7-5. I kind of went on a stretch in a few of those. K-State almost pulled off at Austin. Lost in OT. Army up into the Air Force. Did not see Army just completely dismantle Air Force the way they did. But Air Force seems to be always due that one game where they just decided to not show up. And case in point. USC, once again, cannot compete with quality teams this year. They lost to Washington. And they were in it for most of it and just couldn't find ways out of it. The defense could not stop anything, which puts too much pressure on Caleb Williams. He's trying to find ways to do it. His throws are a little bit off. When he did make the throws, receivers weren't making the plays. It was just a bad showing altogether. But that has led to the firing of the defensive coordinator at USC. I think a little bit too late on that aspect, but we'll see because USC still has a few other tough games coming up. Then NC State beat Miami. I thought Van Dyke was better than Armstrong, but the Wolfpack defense is better than the Hurricanes defense. Both these teams are just yo-yos. They need to keep going up and down. You never know which one's going to show up, and it keeps every time with these two squads, I keep picking the wrong one every time. And then I thought UCLA is going to burst the Arizona upset train. No, Arizona is strong, and they continue to upset teams. They're going to make it very interesting for the end of the pack. I think they're out of it because with Washington and Oregon both sitting on top with only one loss between them. That's because Washington beat Oregon. I think they're destined to face each other in Las Vegas, but Arizona's definitely going to throw a monkey wrench at a lot of plans. So that's how I went 7-5. So they kind of affect a lot of the polls itself. My first two that were out from last week, because I think I only had like two. Actually, I had three to get kicked out of the polls. Of course, Air Force gone after losing to Army. They're one of the best years they've had. They're out. LSU, after losing to Alabama, has dropped out. K-State, losing to Texas, is out. Air Force is not quite in my top 25 yet, but they're definitely knocking on the door. They're less than a 0.1 away from number 25. So they're just looking for someone else to make a slip up, and they're in. Let's go ahead and go into my top 25. We'll start with number 25. Notre Dame. Notre Dame still hanging around even after they got upset by Clemson. Still hanging tough. 7-3 with a 2.391. Now, probably should explain the points once again. Each one, depending on which one you get, gets you so many points. So if you play a Power 5, it wins 3 points. Group of 5, 2, NCS 1. If you lose to those particular programs, Power -1, Group -2, SCS -3. And then your overtime loss is a quarter of a point. Then you also throw in the strength of schedule, combined winning percentage of everyone you played, and strength of victory, combined winning percentage of everyone you faced or beaten. And if you take on any FCS program, only that game counts for those two areas. And then everything is divided by games played. That's how you get it. But yeah, Notre Dame still hanging in there, 24. USC still there. I know Notre Dame beat USC, and it's very little points between them. USC's at 2.391, so a little bit higher, not by much. That just kind of goes with who they've beaten thus far, as Notre Dame does have an FCS victory, which does kind of hamper. Number 23, you see the first appearance of Fresno State. Fresno State is starting to make a lot of headway in the Mountain West. Last week beating Boise State quite handily. They're going to be a tough out. Look like them and Air Force are close to determining that those are the final two teams going to be for the Mountain West, so make things fun and interesting. 22, Tennessee continues to bounce back. They still have a game against Georgia, so we'll see how long they'll stay in this poll. But they're at 22, 7-2. Missouri falls to 21 after losing to Georgia. Put up a heck of a fight against Georgia. So no bad will right now to Mizzou. They have a quality team going out there in Columbia, and we'll see how that one continues. Number 20, North Carolina fell to that one because it took on Campbell. Playing FCS programs does hamper you a lot, especially late in the season. You'll start seeing a lot of these teams take a huge step backwards. You'll see that happen with a lot of the SEC schools. Number 19, we'll see the return of Oregon State. So they're at 7-2. Number 18, Iowa, continue to just quietly win ugly games, but they win. They're 7-2 right now, and because of the chaos in the Big Ten West, they're still on top. So they can take on probably the winner of the Michigan-Ohio State game in Indy. Number 16, Oklahoma State, after the win in Bedlam, their final victory. Why this is going away, I have no idea. This is, like I said, this realignment is just bonkers to me. But anyways, Oklahoma State's at 16, moving up from 21. Just ahead of them is Oklahoma. Yeah, I know they just beat them. Once again, you're looking at points and whatnot, and it's the strength of schedule of Oklahoma that keeps them ahead of the Cowboys, and they fall from 9 to 15. 14, you see Utah continuing to move up. They continue to win, so there's a few more games coming up for them that could provide some issues, so we'll see how that plays out. But the Utes just keep on winning, and going to be a strong out in the Big 12. We're going to see if they can sneak in that title game once again, but they may not get there. At 13, we have Liberty. Liberty being 9-0. Not ranked. I think they just got ranked in the AP and the coaches poll. I see why, because they're playing Conference USA, so not a really big heavy hitter in terms of that. But they just keep winning, find ways to win, and it should be a consideration for in New Year 6, but I already know coaches, the college football playoff poll will keep them way out. Number 12, James Madison. Right now, they're still ineligible because they're in their second year of transition. They have once again applied to the NCAA to lift that restriction so they can play in the postseason this year. And they were denied back in April to not do it, but there's a new requirement set forth it will take place in 2027. And James Madison says, we already meet and exceed all the standards already. Why not just let us compete now? This is going to be a good thing for them because they're 9-0. the top team in the Sun Belt, the way they're playing, they should be in consideration for New Year's Six Bowl. It's just one of these. They were very well prepared to make the transition before they did it. They even did it a year early because of how the then Colonial was treating them. So they're like, nope, screw it, we're gone. And here they are. Still maintaining number 12. I think this is part of the position the car will be hanging in here until the rest of the top teams start to falter. But definitely a school to watch out for in the future. And number 11 is Oregon. Oregon just sniffing that top 10. Definitely a team that should be, I think, personally ranked higher than what they are in here. I mean, I don't think there's anything against them whatsoever. Strength of victory, a little bit on the low side compared to some of the other ones in the top 10. I think it's about the only thing that's really hampering them, but just another quality team should be a huge factor in the Pac-12 and probably find himself a very nice bowl this season. Then we head into the top 10. Number 10, Penn State, the third wheel out there in the Big Ten East. I got hope for chaos. The game against Michigan coming up will be a huge game for them. They got to look to see if they can upset the apple cart, per se. Probably throw a monkey wrench at a lot of plans, but I think they need to beat Michigan to take the next step forward because those two programs, Franklin has a hard time beating for some reason. So definitely get a win there. Number 9, Ole Miss. Ole Miss will be the number 2 team out there in SEC West. They got to have Alabama lose 2 more SEC games for them to be even considered. That's highly improbable, especially since they only have 1 left. So Ole Miss is going to find themselves in a nice game coming up, maybe on the New York Six side. Who knows, but definitely a well-respected bowl game. Number 8, Louisville. Louisville continues to impress. Even after their stumble against Pitt, they have continued to win. I mean, they got that marquee win against Notre Dame. They beat Duke. They're on pace to take on Florida State in the ACC championship. So definitely one of those you guys should really look out for coming up. Number 7, Alabama. They just continue to roll. After that stumble against Texas, after that they've just bounced back. Even though a lot of their games they played poorly in the first half, but once it hit the second half, the switch comes on, and the team just plays lights out football after that. They did it against Tennessee. They did that against LSU. Still got the Iron Bowl coming up. There's always going to be a tough matchup for them. They also got a lame duck one coming up. That should really bring down their the points. But definitely one to look out for. In number 6, controversially, I might add, because they were number 4, is Washington. They have dropped to number 6. I think once again it's just their strength of victories are starting to hamper them up a little bit, and that's the only reason why I think these guys are falling at this far down. But definitely should be ranked higher. But strength of victory is really kind of play factor in this role. Top 5. Strangely, Texas find themselves there. After that overtime victory against K-State, I think it's really helped propel them because the strength of victory got a good win against K-State. And that really kind of helps them. K-State and Alabama, 2 marquee wins they have right now. So definitely something for them to build upon. Now the top team in the Big 12. And we'll kind of see how they play from here on out. The Final 4, Georgia still hanging there. Go from 5 to 4. That win against Mizzou has really helped propel them. Like I said, they still got Tennessee coming up. They got Georgia Tech coming up. So still got a couple other marquee games coming up to really, balance them out. But I think they'll find themselves once again in the SEC title game. So we'll see if they can make a three-peat, which is going to be highly unusual in modern day college football. Number 3, and that's where Michigan now lies. Once again, they have really not taken on anyone that difficult. I mean, the only marquee one so far is UNLV. That's not saying much. Like I said, they still got games against Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan State. All three are going to be tough outs for them. I can see all of them beating them. I can see 2 of them beating them. I can see none of them beating them. I mean, it's. I think it's how parity is. I mean, but that end of the year matchup between Michigan and Ohio State should be spectacular. Speaking of Ohio State, they have now moved into number 2 thanks to their recent victory against Rutgers. Once again, a good, strong strength of victory win. They struggled a bit against Rutgers. It wasn't pretty, and that's the thing with Ohio State. They don't win pretty. They just win. The game against Notre Dame is a prime example. I know I keep throwing in Notre Dame because those are the games I try to watch the most of. And they just battled back with them, and they went battle back and forth between those two, and they put on a good showing. Rutgers, they did the same thing. They had to withstand the onslaught Rutgers gave in the beginning, minimized what damage Rutgers could do, and just came back and won. Like I said, they still got Michigan State at the end of the year. We'll see how that one kind of plays out. And my number 1 team right now, still Florida State. They just continue to win. They still got their end of the year bash against Florida coming up. We'll see how that one kind of pans out. Possibly a date with Louisville and Charlotte. That should be an interesting one between those two. But, it kind of gives you, a good picture of how things are kind of playing out from here on out. Well, that's my poll. Like I said, not perfect by any stretch of the means. Definitely how I would not personally put them. I think I would probably have Ohio State 1, Georgia 2, Washington 3, Florida State 4, and Michigan 5. I think that'd be my top 5 right there. But we'll see how things are going to play out, especially with the Michigan thing. There's could be things where, the Big Ten or NCAA steps in and bans Michigan from postseason play. Michigan's trying to say let due process play out. They already had one member of their staff resign because of this. So we'll see how things kind of evolve in terms of Jim Harbaugh in Michigan. I think his tenure in Michigan is done after the season. He's probably going to head back to the NFL, so it'll be kind of unique to see where he lands. That's a topic for a different time frame. And as I think things change, especially when these programs start taking on the FCS schools in late in the season, especially a lot of SEC programs, you start seeing the points switch out with them because Florida State has that with North Alabama coming up, so that's going to affect them. I know Alabama's got it. With them coming up towards the end in their season, they got the game against Chattanooga. Georgia is just a handful with Ole Miss and Tennessee on the docket, so that's going to really elevate their gameplay. So we'll just kind of see how things kind of pan out, and there's still a lot of college football left to play. We're still down to the nitty-gritty, and it's going to be fun to see how this evolves in the near future. And this is probably going to come out same time frame. The new updated college football playoff poll is going to come out, so you see a big difference between mine and theirs. Mine's different than the AP and the coaches poll. So, like I said, I think it's good to have a variety of polls out there to kind of see how certain groups and certain ways kind of evaluate these programs. The only way for these programs to really do it, battle out, it's on the field. A lot of these great programs are going to be undefeated. They all should be in a playoff system to determine who's going to be number one, regardless if it's Liberty taking on, say, Ohio State in the first round. And we all pretty much would guarantee Ohio State would just put, a 70-7 shellacking on them. Maybe not 70, but it would be a one-sided affair. And people don't want that, but there's that what if scenario. What if James Madison goes into Florida State and escapes 24-23? I mean, those are the type of matchups you want to see. You want to see the Cinderellas. You want to see the little guy get a shot. Maybe knock him out. That's why a lot of people like March Madness, because you see he's in like St. Peter's or Loyola Chicago making a Final Four appearance. At the time frame, Butler making back-to-back before he became part of the Big East. I mean, there's just so many programs out there you want to see succeed where they didn't have a shot. And we love the underdogs. We root for the underdogs half the time. It's like most times when I do picks, I go for some underdogs sometimes because, they're going to be out there. But anyways, let me know what you think. Which games you're looking for coming up towards the end of the season? Like I said, there's a lot of huge matchups, a lot of implications for conference tie-ins and playoff positions. So go ahead. If you like what I do, just go hit that thumbs up. It really pleases YouTube guys. Really helps the algorithm out, promotes this video, gets it out to the ether, to the masses. You also subscribe. Check my analytics. Over 90% of you are not subscribed. It doesn't cost you a dime. Nothing. And then, once you subscribe, you get notified next time I post any more videos. You can always see this beautiful face and listen to my lovely voice. You just click the subscribe button, click that bell icon, turn on notifications. And I'll see you next time on Chat Sports Talk.